took myself from someone who used to be 23% body fat to now someone who's 10 to 11% body fat. And I did this across the span of 16 to 17 weeks. And so in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys how I got to 10 to 11% body fat. So, just one thing I'll say though, before I tell you the tactics, let's first talk about the mindset because most people can't execute the cut consistently, not simply because they don't have their tactics are incorrect. And yes, you may have, the wrong tactics, but if you have a decent amount of tactics, you can at least see decent results. You can at least see decent results if you stick to the plan for long enough. You see, the reason why people can't stick to the plan for long enough is simply because of their poor mindset. Their mindset is holding them back. Hence why you'll see people, making progress for the first few weeks, and then they'll just completely, ruin their progress by having a weekend binge, whatever it may be. They eat off plan, they eat off plan on the fourth week, and then they'll just go back to how they were square one, or how they were in the previous week. But the main thing is, whenever they eat off plan, it will ruin your entire progress for the week, depending on how much you eat. But the reason why people can't get there is simply because they focus too much on the tactics and they don't focus on fixing their mindsets first. That's a very important part throughout the progress because cutting is more of a mental game than a physical game. If you don't get your mindset right, then you're not going to be able to execute it consistently because the tactics part is very easy. It's very simple, 10K steps, eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, yeah, all of these are the tactics, which we'll get onto later on in the video. But first, let's talk about the mindset. You simply don't believe you can get to 10 to 11% body fat. And you don't believe that because of your poor mindset and your poor self-image. So how do we fix our mindsets? So first thing you would do is to make a few mindset shifts. And let me tell you guys the mindset shifts that I've made. Firstly, it's less about the physique and it's more about the man you need to become. That's one good mindset. The reason why this is a very strong mindset to have is because, and this is true, like, because from here to here, you can clearly see, like, yeah, we see the visual difference. But the difference is this person had the poor mindset and this person had a strong mindset. This person simply believed they can get into shape. They can get into 10%, they can get to 10 to 11% body fat. This person had no belief. He looked like he just started going to the gym. You can clearly see the difference between their mindsets, not just, the visuals. Like you can clearly see the difference with them. One had a stronger mindset and one had a weaker mindset. And it's true when they say it's less about the physique, it's more about the man you need to become. Because it's never ever about the body fat percentage. It's never ever about getting to 10% body fat. It's about who you become along the way. Because this is what 10 to 11% body fat taught me. It taught me how you stacking up your daily habits on a day-to-day basis of, eating 1 gram protein per pound of body weight, having a meal plan, sticking to the meal plan, staying consistent. If we're doing 10K steps daily, cardio daily, you stick to the diet consistently. This is what the physique teaches you. The physique is just a byproduct of your hard work because that hard work that you submit every single day, you will end up becoming a better version of you if you keep submitting these daily habits every single day. And once you stick to those consistently, you're gonna naturally, you're just gonna become a more disciplined version of yourself. You're gonna become that man. You just need to stick to it consistently. And so this is what I mean when I say the man you need to become. The man of consistency, the man that never gives up, the one who stays patient. Because this took me 16 weeks. I had to stay patient throughout my cut. I had to, not focus on the result and just focus on and don't focus on the abs and just focus on doing the daily habits required in order for you to get into shape. So I just simply, had to stay patient throughout this process, because, and I'm glad I did because I knew throughout this whole progress, his whole like entire 16-week progress process, that if I just stay consistent, if I stay patient, if I accept that it's going to take longer than I thought it was going to take, because I thought this was going to take 9 weeks. Imagine 9 weeks because I underestimated how much body fat I have, which makes sense, obviously, that it took 16 weeks because you can clearly see that this is not 20% body fat after looking back at it. This is me 23, 22%, I'd say. But yeah, I underestimated my body fat percentage, saying it's 20%. So therefore, that's why it took kind of longer. Or you could argue and say that I'm 24%, but it doesn't really matter because as long as you just keep going to get to your goal, that's all that matters, to be honest. But yeah, the man of discipline. This is what the physique teaches you. The man of discipline, showing up every single day, no matter how much setbacks you have. Because I had a few setbacks from poor sleep, but I didn't use that as a reason for me to, fall off my plan. Because as long as you don't eat your plan, you will get the result. And even if you get 1 to 2 poor night sleeps, it's fine. It's okay. You just need to just come back stronger the next day. And that's what the physique teaches you. The physique teaches you that it's about who you become and it's less about the body fat percentage. Because, and one part of you becoming the man is the man who doesn't give up, the man who just keeps showing up even if they have setbacks. So you see why, guys, I'm coming through about how it's less about the physique, it's more about the man you need to become. And there's other strong mindsets as well. Such as you know, just believing in yourself. Like raising yourself. Well, to be fair, the moment you start to make progress, your mindset just becomes naturally better. But for the start, it's very the way to have a strong mindset at the start is to just keep repeating those daily mindset statements on a day-to-day basis of such as food equals energy, energy equals output, output equals this, output equals energy, and energy equals growth. Or you can make the mindset shift of, oh, I'm going to be doing this forever. The moment I accept it, the easier it becomes. Because even though my transformation has still been done, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing those daily habits of getting 10K steps daily. Like I'm still going to be getting my 10K steps. I'm still going to be staying active. Still going to be doing my cardio. And the best mindset shift to make whenever cardio feels hard for you guys, because I ended up doing 50 minutes of Stairmaster, and then I was doing 14 to 16K steps for those like last 5 weeks. And one thing that has helped me keep going is my mindset of saying that even though I'm doing this much cardio, I'm still going to be doing cardio forever. Like I'm still going to be staying active. I'm still going to be doing my cardio on a day-to-day basis. Like that's something that I'm not going to stop doing. So the moment I made that mindset shift is the moment that I just had to. Is the moment it became easier for me to embrace, just firm the cardio sessions because. Like, I'm not saying obviously you have to do 15 minutes of cardio forever. And don't get me wrong, you don't need to because nothing in life lasts forever. Like this, the 50 minutes of cardio, the painful walks, they're not gonna last forever. But if you just suffer and you embrace through those, you're just gonna and you submit those type of evidence every single day. You just embrace it. Then that's when you'll start to become a better version of yourself, a better disciplined version of yourself. And after the cut, it's just gonna feel much easier. You're gonna feel more, more fitter, and you're just gonna become a better man. The man who becomes fitter. That's why I say it's less about the physique, it's more about the man you need to become. It's never about the six pack. I promise you, it's never ever been about the six pack. So yeah, that's the few mindset shifts. And in order for you to get a strong mindset, what the part of having a strong mindset is you believe and you can get to the goal. And the way to do that is just to simply because you're 23% body fat, or let's just say 25% body fat for now, you're someone who has a poor self-image. They don't like the way they look. So the way to raise your self-image is just to act like the guy who's at 10% body fat. What does he do on a day-to-day basis? He sleeps 7 to 9 hours daily, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, trains on a regular basis, trains like an athlete. He, weighs himself, does the daily non-negotiables of, sticking to their calorie goal, not eating off plan, um, you know, doing his 10K steps daily, doing his zone 2 cardio daily, and just has a routine to follow. He doesn't scroll first thing in the morning. Once you slowly start to fix those habits, you start to have the habits that the 10% body fat person does, and you take action on those habits, you'll slowly start to make progress. And when you make progress, that's when you become happy. And once you make that progress, even if you lose what, like 4 kg, it's still gonna raise your self-image. And hence it's gonna raise your belief system. So you're gonna start to believe now that you can make more progress. And the moment you just continue staying consistent, your self-image will be raised even further. And therefore, you're just going to, it's gonna make you, feel addicted to the progress, feel addicted to the process, even when like, even when it gets difficult, because you're happy from where you came along. So if you just remove those poor habits that kept you stuck at this 25% body fat person, and you stack up habits that that 10% body fat person does compared to someone who's out of shape, then you'll slowly start to, see more progress. Even if it's just like, starting off small, like doing 6K steps daily, or, starting to clean up their diet, like slowly, it will start to boost your confidence, and you're therefore not going to view yourself as this person anymore. So we need to make sure as well, when it comes to getting to 10 to 11% body fat, you need to change your identity along the way. View yourself as the guy who's 10% body fat already, because cutting will feel much easier when you just change your identity, because fitness is about changing your identity. It's not just about the tactics. So, and that's the same way how it goes, if you start boxing, the way to stay consistent at doing boxing is just to act like you're already a boxer. Act like a boxer. Because the moment you act like a boxer is the moment where you start to become a boxer, the same way how you view yourself as an athlete. If you act like an athlete, if you view yourself as an athlete, guess what? You're gonna become an athlete. Same goes with the 10% body fat person. So now that's the mental side of things done. Once you fix that, everything else will start to feel much easier. And you get those tactical, parts right. That's when I can guarantee you'll get results like this, and you'll be a very proud person, a very proud, version of yourself, or a very proud person, you know, because trust me, once you get a result like this, you're going to start to become very happy. Like the moment I took this picture and I looked at myself, I was like, yeah, bro, I feel like a different man. Trust me, once you get that transformation, you're gonna start to feel very happy. And the reason why you get happy is simply because of progress. You've made that progress. You've, you know, got to your goal, and you made that progress. Because progress is what makes you happy. But yeah, that's the mental side of things done. Now, moving on to tactical habits. This is everything that I did. So I started off, I think this was me, yeah, this was me around like 70, yeah, like around 74 kg, 74.3 kg, I think, yeah. And I basically just use the calorie calculator, any calorie calculator online. It gets your rough maintenance, and then obviously the maintenance is not really accurate enough, but it's fine anyways. It doesn't really matter. Just find a TD calorie calculator, any that's online, and just plug in your data, plug in your weight, plug in your height, plug in your optionally you could plug in your body fat percentage as well. And most of you guys, I think, will be training at 3 to 5 days a week. So pick how active you are, because there's going to be like an active section where it says how active you are. You train 3 to 5 days a week, or you're very, very active. But I think most of you guys and would be anywhere between 3 to 5 days a week. But yeah, plug in your data. Um, it'll give you your maintenance goal. It'll give you, so if I just show you what I mean by this. So if I just search up calorie calculator, then let me present it to you guys actually. So let's say, okay, I'm 20. Let's say your height 175, weight 74.3. And so yeah, it will give you like a type of activity that you guys can do, that you guys do. I think most of you guys will be either light or moderate, but I would say go for I say go for light for now because you just started. And then if you want as well, you can put your body fat percentage. I'll say 23. Then click calculate. It'll give you a rough maintenance. And what you want to do from there is drop just below maintenance. So 200 calories below maintenance, depending on your starting point. Um, but yeah, I'd say if you're someone that's 30% body fat or above, then drop it a bit more aggressively by like 500 below maintenance. But if you're like 25, then drop 300 below. But if you're like 23, 22, then I would say drop just below maintenance at 200. Um, because I feel like most of you guys need a body recomp. Because this, I feel like for me, it's more of a body recomp transformation than more of a fat loss transformation. Like I did, obviously, I was prioritizing losing fat because I had a lot of fat stored within me. But you can clearly see that I've built muscle along the way as well, if anything. Um, but yeah, that's why I say drop just below maintenance and increase the deficit further, increase the daily energy expenditure by first starting off with 10K steps daily and doing 20 minutes of zone 2 cardio, moderate cardio daily of any non-impact machine. So it could be Stairmaster, um, incline treadmill, the cross bike, whichever one you guys enjoy doing, as long as it's non-impact. So that doesn't, because we want something that doesn't really affect our joints. We don't want to be doing no hit cardio. Well, if you really want to do hit cardio, then I'd say just reduce it to like once a week, maybe twice. But for if you can, do it once every week only. But if not, then yeah, that's even better because we don't want our joints to be affected along the way as well. So yeah, that's what I would say. Do zone 2 cardio at non-impact machines. I did it on the Stairmaster, personally because I just like Stairmaster more than incline treadmill to be honest. It just feels easier doing it. But whichever zone 2 non-impact cardio you like to do, um, yeah, just pick any as long as it's non-impact. And then yeah, what we want to do is yeah, so get the calorie target of dropping just below maintenance and just set up by eating this much calories until obviously the rate of weight loss slows down. But yeah, in terms of how to set up the macros, what you want to do is obviously protein is going to be 1 gram per pound of your body weight, and the amount of fats you need to be eating is 20%, is to get 20% of your overall calories, of the calories of your calorie target, and then yeah, get 20% of that divided by 9. That's how much fats you're going to be eating on a day-to-day basis. And then obviously the rest will be filled with carbs and then the rest will be filled with protein. We want to keep carbs as high as possible. Carbs are the enemy. Don't listen to anyone that says carbs are the enemy because they are not the enemy. I didn't remove carbs at all within my diet and I've lost fat as well. And look at the progress. If anything, carbs is way more important than protein in my opinion because it helps with the gym flow performance and you'll notice the difference, trust me, when you have a carb diet and a high carb diet on a cutting phase. You'll see the difference especially within your gym flow performance. But yeah, we want to start off the calories high so that we can have enough energy to give ourselves a good amount of energy and have enough energy for our gym flow performance. Because the mistake most people make is they slash their calories too much by like 1,000, and then yeah, they just increase the daily energy expenditure further by doing more cardio. That's you're just gonna end up don't do it like that because you're just gonna end up crash dieting, and it's not a very efficient way to be in a calorie deficit and lose fat. So we want to drop just below maintenance, and then yeah, get your set up your macros by that formula that I just told you guys, and then what you want to do is you want to do 10K steps daily, yeah, zone 2 cardio daily, 20 minutes, or 100 and do it for 140 minutes per week. As long as you do 140 minutes per week, it's still fine. But just try and get 20 minutes of cardio. Just try to do 20 minutes of cardio daily. And then we want to I aim to lose around here 0% to 1 kg per week. And if you hit that rate of weight loss of 0% to 1 kg per week, what you want to do is weigh yourself daily as well. Get the average weight, compare it to last week's average weight. If the rate of weight loss lies within 0% to 1 kg per week, or get your lowest weight compared to the lowest weight compared to last week. If the rate of weight loss is 0.7 to 1 kg per week, then you don't need to make any changes. Just continue sticking to what your plan was of doing 20 minutes and then 10K steps daily, 20 minutes of cardio and then 10K steps daily. But the moment you start to not hit a rate of weight loss, which is probably going to happen around like after 2 weeks or after 3 weeks, that's when you'll make changes. But the way to make changes is to don't drop the food down straight away, increase the cardio instead. Why? Because we want to keep food very high for as long as possible, and you want to keep it as long as possible so we can maintain our gym floor performance for as long as possible, and so we can manage diet fatigue as much as possible. So we want to increase it by doing plus 2K steps. This is what I did. Went from 10K steps to 12K steps, and then I went from 20 minutes of cardio daily to now 30 minutes of cardio daily, or 210 minutes per week. And then you're just gonna continue increasing the output until increase the output again once the rate of weight loss doesn't slows down again by doing 40 minutes daily, and then 10K, and then going from 12K steps to 14K steps. And then what you want to do, and then once the rate of weight loss doesn't hit again, obviously cardio may be demanding at this point, which is understandable. 40 minutes is very, you know, demanding. And one thing to note is when you do your cardio, do it from a heart rate of 120 to 130, or 120 to 140 is still fine. But for now, just stick to doing heart rate, getting your average heart rate at 120 to 130 across that 40 minute cardio duration. So once we once we do a good amount of output and your cardio starts to become very demanding, and obviously you haven't hit a rate of weight loss yet, then that's when you can drop the food down. But when you drop the food down, first drop it from fats. You want to drop 200 calories below. Drop 200 calories down in the form of fats first, so that we can still keep the carbs very high to maintain our gym floor performance. And then obviously you can either at this point, if the rate of weight loss doesn't hit again, you can either just increase the cardio to 10 minutes and keep the steps the same, but do it at a heart rate of 130 to 140 if you have the time to do it. If not, then yeah, you can just continue dropping the food down. But I would highly recommend increasing the cardio to from 40 minutes to 50 minutes at a heart rate of 130 to 140, was keeping steps the same, was keeping the food high, which was me for me it was at 2.2K. I started eating 2.4K calories, and then obviously I increased the cardio to then 40 minutes. And then once I did 40 minutes, 14K steps, and the rate of weight loss didn't hit for me, that's when I dropped the food down by 200, mostly in the form of fats. I was eating at 2.2K calories, and then I increased the cardio to 50 minutes. And then what I did after that was I then dropped the food down because obviously at this point cardio became very demanding. So I dropped it to 2,000 calories in the form of carbs, obviously, because we don't want to be in a, zero fat diet. So I dropped it in the form of carbs mostly, and then I put the food down again to 1,800 if the rate of weight loss doesn't hit again. And then I just continued doing it until I reached 10 to 11%. But obviously I ended up eating at 1,800 calories, and I was doing 50 minutes of cardio. And in terms of fatigue from the cardio, if cardio becomes very fatiguing, then and you experience very sore quads, or you get extreme soreness, then then you can start to, and you're like 50% body fat or below, then that's when you can start to implement the outputs. You can start to do 2-day D outputs from cardio. So just 10K steps and do no cardio, just for maximum 2 days though. If you experience very, sore quads and cardio just becomes very, very physically demanding and fatiguing, then yeah, you can start to implement 2-day D outputs by doing cardio 5 days a week minimum. So that's basically pretty much everything that I did. And obviously, I had got my sleep in, weighed myself daily so that I can submit data on a day-to-day basis and help me review my progress. And that's one thing that's very important. You need to weigh yourself daily and obviously get your 79 hours of sleep. And then obviously train with high intensity, doing a 3 to 5 day split, whichever one you guys prefer, whichever one suits your schedule. As long as you train anywhere between 3 to 5 days a week, training each muscle group twice a week. Or you can do upper body twice a week and then legs once a week. But as long as you train in the 3 to 5 training split and you give yourself at least 2 rest days, that's fine. And when it comes to training, because you can have the best program in the world, but if you don't train with a high intensity, then yeah, you may just struggle to lose fat because a lot of people think that they can wing it by training with it that intensity compared to how they trained it during the bulk. And but trust me, you can't wing it. Intensity on a bulk and on a cut is the same. So yeah, focus on lifting with good tempo and meaning you control your reps and you just lift with proper form with a good range of motion, just training with a good enough intensity. By I 1 rep in reserve or zero, you know, or it can be two as well. But um, for now, just train with a high intensity at 0 to 1 rep in reserve, unless if it's your deload week, then that's fine. And just aim to get stronger every single week. And yeah, that's basically everything that I did that got me from 23% body fat around that body fat percentage to now 10 to 11% body fat. So yeah, if you want my help on getting to 10 to 11% body fat, then comment the word 10% down within the comments, and then I will reply back to you. I'll send you a link for you to click on so that you can just fill in the application form, and then we'll speak up later eventually. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you lot in the next video.